Okay, let's be real. Wrestling with connecting your awesome Next.js app to a database like MongoDB can be a total pain. But if you are ready to build those super dynamic web apps, well, hold on to your keyboards because we are about to make. Hi everyone, I am Ayazafar and I'm all about helping developers like you get things done with the power combo of Mongoose and Next.js. I've seen firsthand how this combo can speed up development and make managing your app's data a breeze. Alright, so why are we even bothering with Mongoose and Next.js? Well, here is the deal. First one is structured data. Mongoose takes your MongoDB database and gives it a backbone. It lets you define clear rules and relationships for your data, so it's not just a pile of random stuff floating around. Next is developer friendly. Mongoose makes working with your database feel way more intuitive. It's like having a translator between your JavaScript code and MongoDB. Next one is full stack power. Next.js rocks for building the snappy front end of web apps, and Mongoose lets you handle all that data on the back end. It's a perfect team. Next one is maintainability. Code that's well structured and understandable is code you can actually come back to and update in the future without getting a headache. Mongoose helps with that. Picture this, you are building an online store. You need to keep track of products, prices, inventory, maybe even customer reviews and orders. Or let's say you have got a super cool blog idea. You will have articles, author profiles, maybe comments. Trying to manage all this without Mongoose and Next.js, that's a recipe for chaos. This combo makes it organized and, dare I say, enjoyable. Alright, time for the foundation. We will whip up a fresh Next.js project ready to work with our database. Let's assume you have Node.js set up on your machine. If not, there are tons of guides out there to get that done quickly, or you can check videos about that on my YouTube channel where I have taught how to install and manage the versions of your Node.js. Now fire up your favorite terminal. And now let's use the magic of npx create next app CLI, and we will call this project something like Next Mongoose Demo. You can call this project anything like Next Mongoose Demo. So let me open the terminal, and this is how you will type the command npx space create dash next dash app at latest and press enter, or you can simply space and type the name of the project in the same line and press enter. This command sets up the Next.js project and importantly gives us the sweet app directory where the new routing and data fetching magic happens. Now let's get the tools we need. Our project is built already. I already have built my project and it is open my VS Code and it is currently running here in the browser. So once your project is built, now let's get the tools we need. In the terminal, let's install the Mongoose. So for that, open the terminal in the root directory of your project and type the command npm install mongoose, press enter. And since we are big fans of TypeScript, so let's grab the definition types too. So for that, once this is installed, for that I will run the command npm install dash dash save dash dev at type/mongoose. Press enter. Okay, the types have been installed. Now we need to wait for the Mongoose to be installed. Okay, Mongoose have been installed as well. You can see that these have been added in the package.json file as well. Okay, earlier types were not installed, so I ran the command again and now I can see that the types for the Mongoose have been installed. Okay, great. If you don't have one, then set up a free MongoDB Atlas account. This gives us a hosted database to play with. So let me create the Atlas account along with you. So let's click on this link and let's click on the start free. And from here you may manually type the information, or you can use your Google account to sign up. So I'm using my Google account to sign up. Alright, my account has been created with the help of the Google account. So I have accepted the terms and clicked on the submit button. Alright, it is showing me a welcome screen. Use your account to deploy the cloud database with MongoDB Atlas. Welcome to Atlas. Let's build something great. Help us tailor your experience by taking a minute to answer the questions below. Okay, let's see what is it that. Getting to know what is your primary goal. Let's see. I want to build a new project or evaluate, and I'm new to MongoDB. Getting to know your project. We are using, I guess, Node.js here. And what kind of data will your project use? Not sure for now. And will your application include any of the following architecture or model? I don't know. Click on the finish. Okay. Now it is asking you to deploy your database. Use a template below to set up advanced configuration options. You can also edit these configuration options once the cluster is created. Now here are different options. These two are paid, but this one is free. This one has the 2 GB of RAM and 10 GB of storage, but free one has the shared RAM and 512 MB of storage. So for now, I think this is sufficient for us. Here you can select which provider you want to use. So let's keep the AWS for now, and let's keep the region that was selected by default. And here you can give any name to your cluster, and let's hit the create button and wait for it. If it shows you the captcha to verify if you are human, then let's fill that out. And I think let's try it. Hit the submit button. Okay. All right. It is provisioning our cluster. So security quick start. To access data stored in Atlas, you will need to create users and set up network security controls. All right. How would you like to authenticate your connection? Your first user will have permission to read and write any data in your project. All right. So the cluster has been provisioned as it is saying. Now it is saying asking to create database using username password. User will be given a record, given the read and write to any database privilege by default. You can update these permissions or create additional users later. Ensure these credentials are different to your MongoDB cloud username and password. All right. It has suggested an auto-generated password, so I think it is fine. And copy it, and let's hit the submit button to create the user. Now it is asking where would you like to connect from. Enable access from any networks that need to read and write data to your cluster. One option is my local environment. Second one is cloud environment. In the local environment, use this to add network IP address to the IP access list. This can be modified at any time. Next one is cloud environment. Use this configuration network access between Atlas and your cloud or on this. Specifically set up the IP access list, network peering, and private endpoints. Okay, set your network security with any of the following options. Okay, I think let's keep it for now. And here we will add my current IP address. So, okay, it's saying that your IP address has already been added. That's great. And as this is my computer IP address, but in real world project, when you deploy your application to a live server, then your server will have its own IP address. So you may want to get the IP address of your server, and you will put it there and give it a description, and you will add it, and it will whitelist that IP address. Once done, click on the finish and close. Okay, close it. All right, I think our cluster is ready and ready to be used. Once your cluster is ready, then we need to click on the connect to choose the connection option. So let's find out the connect button, click on that, and from here I think we need to choose this option, drivers. Access your Atlas data using MongoDB's native drivers like Node.js. So let's do that. And here you have to specify the version and then add your connection string to your application code. Okay. So I have already copied my password. So let me put my password here for now, and I will copy this connection string and let me paste it here. And now I will cut my password and paste it here, because this is a placeholder for the password. You have to put your password by yourself. Okay. Now this connection string can be used to connect your database. So let me cut it from here. We never want to paste that connection string with your password directly into the code. So inside our project, let's create the environment file. That would be .env.local. Press enter, and here I will create a variable like MongoDB URI and paste our connection string. So that's the setup, ready to make Mongoose actually connect to our database. Okay, now it's time to make Next.js and MongoDB actually talk to each other. For this, we will create a dedicated connection file. So in your project, let's create a folder called lib. This is commonplace to keep these helper functions. So let's create a lib folder, and let me collapse this node modules. So in the lib folder, we need to have db connect.ts. Okay, it has created the lib folder automatically, and now we have the file. Now let's add some code here in this file. So import mongoose from mongoose, and now const connection is equal to, actually we need to give it a type, is connected, and we have initialized it with an empty object. Now I will create an async function db connect, and here I will check if connection is connected. So after that I will add const db is equal to await mongoose dot connect, and here we will access our environment variable that we created earlier. After that line of code I will add connection dot is connected. So we are basically updating this property with the ready state, and at the end we will finally export this connection. Okay, so let me quickly explain. So here we are importing the mongoose. We need to mongoose library to do the heavy lifting, and then this connection object might seem weird, but it's key to efficiency. It lets us store if we are already connected. The db connect function is our main function for establishing the connection. So if connected, then we will return. If we already have a good connection, no need to redo everything. And then we have the mongoose.connect. This is where the magic happens. We tell mongoose to connect using the connection string from our .env.local file, and then we are updating the connection status, so we know if we are connected or not. So why all that fuss? Next.js apps, especially with the app directory, can execute code on both the server and within the browser components. We don't want to create tons of database connections, so it's wasteful. This pattern makes sure we reuse a single connection for the whole app. So ready for the next step, defining our data models. Alright, it's time to give our data some structure. Mongoose models are like blueprints for what we store in our database. Let's build a simple model for a product. So think of things you might have in an online store: name, price, description. In name, obviously every product needs a name. This will be a string. And then price, we have to know how much it costs. We will store this as a number. Then about description, this is a place to give more details about our amazing product. So let's make this another string. We love TypeScript, so let's define an interface and then create a models folder in your project and add a file named product.ts. So let's do that here in the app directory. I'm going to do that model/product.ts, and now I'm going to create and export the interface that I was talking about. Product extends document. Okay, we need to import this document from Mongoose, and now I will add the name, string, phone, price, and description. And then I need to create a constant product schema, and we will initialize actually let me give it the type schema that we created earlier. Now give it a type schema, and that should be imported from the Mongoose like that. And now we will initialize new Mongoose. Let me import the Mongoose. So here add Mongoose like that, dot and schema. Okay, we have initialized it, and we will pass it an object, and there we will pass different things like fields, name, and then we will have type, string and required true, and then we will have the price, and at the end we need description, and this is not required, so I will just get rid of that. All right, after that let's create another constant. Product is equal to mongoose dot model dot, actually here we need to pass the interface product, and then I will call it, and here I will pass the name of our document, and here I will pass the schema. Okay, now at the end I will simply export this model in this way. All right, so let's quickly talk about this code. So our iProduct interface tells TypeScript what a valid product should look like. The document bit adds MongoDB specific goodies, and then we have schema. This is like the core Mongoose blueprint. It matches our interface. Notice the required bits. These are the basic validations. We finally create the product model here. This is what we will use to interact with our database. Mongoose lets you get fancy here. So required fields, we have saw that already. Data types, make sure prices are numbers, not text. And about custom validators, you can write functions for more complex rules. So feeling confident, right? Let's put these models to work inside the Next.js. All right, now we can actually use this stuff to build our app. So let's get some products onto the screen. Now that we have our Mongoose model set up, it's time to see them in action with our Next.js app. This part is exciting because it's where our app starts interacting with our database to fetch and manipulate the data. So let's dive in. First up, let's create an API route that allows us to fetch our product data. In your project, navigate to the app directory. Under the app folder, create a new folder called API. And within the API, let's create another folder name called products. And inside the products, let's create a file like route.ts, and here I will export default async function, and we will name it the get method. So this is important. You have to give it get, post, or delete or patch name. So once that is done, I will use await db connect. Make sure to import the db connect from the library that we created earlier. And now after that, get the products and save them in the products variable, await products dot find. And then actually we have to import that schema like this, and now response, and now we are sending the status. Okay, so you will use the next response.json and pass the products. You can further wrap it in the try catch block to capture the possible errors. So you can pass that error message in this way, and here I will add the any for now. All right, so let me quickly explain. So here we are ensuring the that our database is connected before handling request. Now let's create a page in our app directory with the name products slash page.tsx, and here I will export default function and give it any name, page, and within that we will first create a function const and fetch products, and now we will fetch the products in this way. So we are accessing our API route that we created earlier from this path, and we are getting the JSON, and now I will return this. Okay, now I will create a use state products set products and make sure to import the use state. Okay, and now I will use the use effect. Make sure to import that function as well, and with that I will pass the callback function, and this should be called only once, first time when the component is mounted. And here I will use this fetch products function we called it, and the promise we use a .then function, and when we got the products we set it in the product state. And once that is done, I will return div, and within that I will use h1 tag products, and after that I will use products.map, and let's return a div with the product ID and product name. And for now let's type any here to get rid of these errors. Okay, now let's quickly test it. So here I will go to the products, press enter, and I got some errors. You're importing the component that needs use effect. Okay, so to fix that problem, either you can convert it into the client component like this, use client. So in this way this has converted into the client component, and right now we don't have any products, so it will not show any. But another important thing is that if you don't want to convert it into the client component, you want to keep it a server component, then no need to use the states. We can just get rid of all of these. Just create a property, const products is equal to fetch products, and actually here you can add async to use the await here. Okay, and now it is server component and it should still work. Okay, to fix that error you have to copy the base URL and paste it here. So now if you reload it, it will still not work because our API has some problem. So this is our get method API, and it is saying that cannot override product model once compiled. So I think the model was created and it is trying to recreate it. So to fix that problem, go to the product model, and here we have to check that if mongoose dot models dot product, then use it, otherwise then create a new one. Okay, with that hopefully this issue should be fixed. Let me restart it. Okay, now reload it. Okay, we are getting error 405, and in the console I can see detected default export in this export unnamed for each HTTP method. All right, so let's see what's wrong here. So we don't need to set the default, just export in this way, and now reload it. Okay, now we have different kind of problem. Mongoose error, the URI parameter to open URI must be a string, got undefined. Okay, so there is some problem here. It is saying that this is not defined. So let's see. Let's go to the .env.local MongoDB URI. Maybe the name is wrong. So yes, the environment variable name was wrong. Now if we try again, it should hopefully work fine. So now, so it is saying that no response is returned from the route handler. Okay, so make sure to return the response like that, otherwise you will have problem like this. Okay, now let's try it again, reload it, and this time you can see we are getting an empty array, and this is working perfectly fine. But right now we don't have data, that's why we have empty array. So let's create some data. I will go to the database here in the MongoDB and click on the database, and here, okay, in the database you will find the cluster. Okay, from this cluster click on the browse collections. So here you can find that our products has been created, and now I will add some data into it. So click on insert document, and here let's add some data, like, let me move it here. So here I will add the data like name, product, price this, description this. Okay, let's copy it back and paste it here. All right, now let's insert it. Okay, we have inserted a document. Now let's reload it and we should see that product here. Let me add few more products. So I will insert document, and here let's copy paste it, and this time I will add different price, different product name, and different product description. Actually we have to be very careful because the ID should be unique every time. So let me copy this part and cancel it and click on the insert document, and I will only paste the additional things. Here we need to add the semicolon, comma, and click on the insert. All right, now we have two documents. If you reload it, you will find the two documents. Okay, now let's run it here. Reload it. All right, now you can see that our products are being loaded. These are the prices and these are the titles and the descriptions. And there you have it. We have covered how to set up Mongoose model, connect it to Next.js application, and display data using server components. This setup not only allows for efficient data management but also leverages the full power of Next.js server and client capabilities. Remember, this is just beginning. There is so much more you can do with Next.js and Mongoose, from implementing CRUD operations to adding authentication and beyond. So stay curious, keep experimenting, and don't hesitate to dive deeper into the documentation and community resources for more insights and best practices. You have officially integrated Mongoose in your Next.js project. Think about it. You can fetch products, display them, and we will cover creation. That's a massive step towards building a full-fledged web application. If that helped you out, do me a solid, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss the future tutorials where we keep experimenting on this. Here is my challenge to you. What are you excited to build with this newfound knowledge? A blog, an e-store, something totally different? Drop these ideas in the comments and let's get a conversation going. Remember, Ayaz Tech is all about making web development accessible and fun, so keep building awesome things.